Nagual Zone, I am Anaam. We have another live today, and today's live is about a rarely talked about topic, really. I doubt if you'll find this topic anywhere, truly discussed anywhere, even in books, articles online, other videos, all sorts, because it really does take, it's a very specific kind of training, and it's really not for everyone. So, what I am going to introduce to you today as a topic may seem logical or may make perfect sense, but it is really hard to do as in practical life. It's quite hard to do. I've titled the live, "Of course I'm a nice person." Of course I'm a nice person. How dare you? Of course I'm a nice person. Right? Let me tell you a little tale, a little story. One fine day, it was a really nice day, I remember. My benefactor told me, "You're a nice person, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd like to think of myself as a nice person. You know." And he said, "Okay, and you always like to make others happy, keep them nice, be nice to others." I said, yeah, that's quite important. That's what I was taught. That's what my parents taught me. And I was taught that in school. It's good to be nice. And of course, when you're nice to others, others are nice to you. And I think it's really great. It's a great way to live life, to be nice to others. And my benefactor said, "That's exactly why you are so self-important." And that kind of stopped my I'm a nice person kind of explanation that I was going on and on about. I'm a nice person. Yeah, it's the natural thing to be. And that stopped me. I was like, okay, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean I'm self-important? Surely being nice is the thing to do, right? It's the thing to do. So my benefactor, in true benefactor, old school Toltec benefactor fashion, said, why you are so self-important is because your need to be nice makes you someone who is offended very easily. And I was like, okay, that sounds really rubbish, but it makes complete sense. And it kind of turned my brain a little bit. I was like, wow, that's that's true. That is true. So my benefactor then, again, true old school, that generation does not exist anymore. Those kinds of benefactors, my own benefactors would find it nearly impossible to apprentice anyone today in this day and age of, yeah. And he says, okay, go and offend people. Go and offend people. I said, what? He said, go and offend people. I said, what? Like, you mean like go and deliberately offend people? He said, yeah, go and offend people and observe what happens. Now, by that point in my training, I was aware enough, I had developed enough self-discipline in order to remain focused on the task I was given rather than just get distracted by the happenings, that task would entail. So I'd learned that, okay, this is a task of self-observation and really to observe in myself what's happening and not get distracted by the severity of the task, what a thing. And I really struggled with it. I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to. Why would I want to offend anyone? That's not good energy to throw out. It'll come back to me, bad karma, blah, blah. And by that time, I mean, you either do what your benefactor says and gain, or you don't. And if you don't, you're not an apprentice. And it's that simple. So I really learned some basic lessons by then. I said, fine, okay, stop grumbling and just get on with it. So I thought about it. I said, okay, let's first of all, how am I going to do this? How am I going to go around offending people? That is just, what the hell? Let's not offend anyone near and dear, first of all, because that's just, let's start with strangers. They don't know you, you don't know them, and it's kind of, there's a safer boundary that way. So let's start by offending strangers. I still remember the knot in my stomach that it gave me in those days. I was, oh, freaking hell, what is all this nonsense? Why do I have to go through all this? So I decided, okay, how do we go about, how do you tell me, how do you go about offending people? If you think of yourself as a nice person. So I had to be quite inventive. I was like, okay, can't pick fights. And man, it's my Achilles heel, fighting on the streets. Don't do it anymore. I haven't done it, obviously, haven't done it for a very long time, but oof. So I didn't want to do that because that's just going to become physical, and it's not going to allow me it's too speedy, it's too quick, it's not gonna allow me any time to observe myself. So I said, okay, which means it's gonna have to be verbal. If I verbally offend people, it'll give me time to observe by how they throw energy back at me. It'll give me time to observe my own capacity to be offended and be self-important. So it's gonna have to be strangers. So I went to some pubs and bars and stuff. But again, it felt too unsafe in the sense of it would just easily become a bar fight. Those places are not, you shouldn't be going around offending people in a bar. So I kind of, got out of the bar very easily. Yeah, Jake, I'll come to that in a minute. So, then you know what, a really good idea struck me. I said, okay, I got it. It allows me to be safe. It allows for the interaction to not escalate into physical, and also it allows me to interact with strangers, it ticks all the boxes. And you know what it was? In those days, the internet was just becoming popular. Why? Because we had these things. I don't know if anyone remembers ADSL, dial-up, dial-up, and it was like it would come onto your phone bill, and it was like you were making a phone call, so it would be charged as a phone call. Anyway, so I went to the local internet cafe. I didn't have a computer in those days, and in those days, forums. Again, if anyone remembers that back, this is very early 2000s. Forums were the thing. So you used to have forums for everything. Online forums. And there were these sex chat forums and this chat and that chat. And it was all very new technology. Quite new, really. At least here in Britain. And I went and found, I don't remember what kind of forums I found. They were just, oh my God, there was one, what was it? It was a famous one in those days. It was like a general, huge forum where it had little sub forums where you could go, whatever interest you had, you could go and meet people like that. I must have just wandered into the general section. And tell you what, I soon figured out how to make people offended in these forums. I believe it's called trolling. They're called trolls now, but I must have been one of the early wave of trolls of the internet. The only thing is I was trolling for a purpose. And I quickly found that because it's the internet, people will hurl abuse at you. At least in those days they used to. Willy-nilly, it won't take long for them to give me what I wanted. And I started observing in myself, and sure enough, I would have the same physical reactions as if I was being verbally abused on my face. Yeah, I agree with that. Not on the internet because it was new at that time. So internet trolling is what I'm discussing, and it was quite a remarkable thing to experience, in that I would, um, as soon as I stepped out of my nice person boundaries, it was all uncharted territory. And that's where all my inner silence training really came in handy. That's when it all kicked in and I was able to really understand my own self, and how I'm a nice person is such a big trap. And a trap for what? For our own energy. We invest so much energy constantly in trying to prove to ourselves that we are a nice person, in trying to prove to others that we are a nice person. And all because of what? Not because of choice, really not. It's because of conditioning. It's because that's what you were groomed to be since very, very young. And there's nothing wrong with that. I can understand the need for that grooming, because otherwise you'll have people, killing each other on the streets if you don't have good parenting. Part of that is teaching the child to be a nice person. I understand that. But for the Toltecs, it doesn't serve. Conditioning has to be looked at in terms of, is this useful to be free or not? And sure enough, I found a lot of conditioning there that had to be let go of, because I was giving my power away far too quickly to people who got offended at me. In other words, I was constantly afraid of what will they think of me. What will they think of me? If I'm not nice, what will they think of me? So it was a very, 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 very clever way to get me to really look at myself and in real life situations. The other advantage I found, and that advantage came much later in my, in my life, where I found that self-importance. Go and refer to the 3 videos I did very early on self-importance, and there I discuss the idea that sorcerers contend that self-importance itself doesn't exist, but its evidence definitely does. Definitely does. In other words, the lion in the jungle you will never catch, but you will always find the lion's footprints and the lion's scent, and you will see the evidence. If you know how to track the lion, you will see that it has gone that way and all that sort of stuff. So you'll definitely find the evidence and the consequences and the effects of the lion, but you'll never quite ever be able to catch the lion. So one has to be constantly on the hunt for self-importance. That all these were, in my apprenticeship days, were big revelations, because you're not told all this in school, are you? Self-important work is never on autopilot. You're always switched on, because when you're not, it is waiting. It's waiting in the wings. If you're not switched on, and I don't mean, switched on is not the average man's way of being hectic and eyes bugging out and panicking, and no, it's just waiting patiently for signs of self-importance. Just wait like a hunter with vibrant alertness. Relax and wait. If you have that level of awareness in you, you're just relaxed and you're waiting. You're always in waiting mode to see if self-importance comes along or not. The next step is to constantly, every now and again at least, go and test yourself. Because one of the tricks of self-importance is that it will convince you it doesn't exist in you. It really will. It will convince you that, oh, no, it doesn't, I don't exist in this person. You'll be convinced that, yeah, okay, I'm a little bit this and that, but I'm not really self-important. Is it true, really? Yeah, you think that, do you? So the warrior, what the warrior does, goes out into the battlefield and tests himself. Where are my skills at? Because that ability to get offended, man, it comes back. If you don't use it, you lose it. And so every now and again, I started using the internet. It had by then become Twitter and YouTube, Facebook, all the forums had morphed into these social media platforms. And to this day, I carry out self-examinations in terms of trolling people. If you go to my those of you who are on my Facebook feed, my personal feed, not my music business and all the other stuff, my personal feed I use it to troll people. I really do. And it keeps me checking, where am I at? Where am I at? Am I taking myself too seriously? That's the question you gotta ask. If you have a pen and paper handy, write this down. It's one of the most important questions you will ever ask yourself, and I kid you not. Am I taking myself too seriously right now? Am I taking myself too seriously right now? And I don't go seeking to troll, but if people come and make silly comments, I definitely use that to my advantage, to check, okay, here we go. Am I taking myself too seriously reading this? Whatever's happening in me reading this, is there signs that I'm taking myself too seriously? Now here's the kicker. Unless you have really gone out there and trained, it's like me describing flying a helicopter to you who have never flown a helicopter in your life. So all the comments you're likely to make now are going to be out of what? Ignorance. So zip your lip and learn, okay? Realize that you haven't actually done anything, so you're in no position to comment on something that's coming your way. What would be advantageous for you is to listen, not to agree or disagree, or believe or disbelieve. Listen in order to judge whether it's true or not, in the sense of, is it useful for you? Is this useful? What is he saying? Is it useful for me? If it's not useful, fine. Doesn't matter. Don't take yourself too seriously. So that is why it is easy to find Anaam's Facebook feed and go, oh wow, he talks about high quality energy in his YouTube channel, and now here he is trolling away and being so crass and nasty. There's a purpose behind it, and it serves me very well. The second purpose is, remember this one, where attention goes, energy flows. And there are ways to use that energy that's coming at you. There's ways to always use energy that's coming at you. Whether it's high quality energy or low quality energy, someone proficient in stalking will be able to convert it to usable energy, just like that. But you have to be able to train into this. You have to be able to train out of your intense conditioning to be a nice person, and make it a conscious choice instead. Make it a conscious choice. If you want to be nice, go right ahead and be nice. If you don't want to be nice, don't be nice. Why waste time on lying to yourself and others? Just be yourself instead. Just be yourself instead. You know that you're not a very nice person. You know this. You know this. I'm not a very nice person, but it doesn't bother me because I'm not nice or not nice for others. I'm not nice or nice in order to be, is it useful to be a certain way? So I have unlocked the entire gamut of my behavior. All the angles are open to me. And I move freely in them with great abandon, as Don Juan would put it. Right? All the Toltec's training is, none of it is cerebral, none of it is mental masturbation and you pretending you're better than you really are. It's all self-verified in real life situations. In real life situations, you got to get out there and really get your hands into the mud and see what you find. It's the only way you're going to really grow and gain true personal power. Yeah. Now here's a little word of caution. This is not like a license to be an asshole on social media, right? You need to know what you're doing. And so don't watch this and then just go out and, okay, I'll try and offend someone and don't come back to me later and say, oh, you know. So I'm giving you a word of warning. If you have a benefactor, you can run it by them, see what they think. This is how I was trained. And to this day, it stands me in good stead. It has freed me from the incredible weight that the average man bears. The weight of what will they think of me? What will they think of me? Almost everything we do, especially when we're not alone, is governed by this one paradigm. What will they think of me? It's an incredible amount of energy to invest into something that is really just a prison. Right? Think of it like this. You have the Jedi and you have the Sith, right? For those of you not familiar with these terms, these are from the movie Star Wars franchise. The Jedi are the good guys, the Sith are the villains, the bad guys. They're really nasty mofos. Yeah? There's the Jedi, there's the Sith, and then there's the Toltec warrior. The Toltec warrior is a real problem because if the Toltec warrior goes and joins the Jedi club, he'll be a great Jedi. He'll be very good and generous and always on the good light, light worker and beautiful, the world is amazing. Jedi. And if he goes and joins the Sith because it suits his purposes, then he'll be really bad, like nasty person. He'll be one of the most Sith-like Siths, around. Because it doesn't matter to the Toltec warrior what clubs he goes and joins, because these are just clubs really, consensus realities. What matters to the Toltec warrior is it useful and am I making use of my time here before death claims me? What I'm talking about here is there's a lot of room for it to be like projected upon with your own little conditionings and your own, projections. But if you can step outside of yourself a little bit, outside of your bubble, mental bubble, and just look at it without getting personally involved in this subject matter, just look at it from the outside and go, is there any use to what he's saying? Then I think you have more chances of getting where this is all coming from and why it's so imperative that you free yourself from what will they think of me. And this is one of the best ways I know. It takes a lot of preparation. None of my apprentices have been given this task yet. None of them are ready yet. They're getting good and strong, but they're not ready for this one yet. Soon enough, though, I'll ask them to, find out ways where they, they can go and offend people. But we'll do it in controlled ways, not like really, silly. So they have to sink their inner silence deep into themselves enough, acquire access enough inner silence in them first, before we can attempt all this. Otherwise, they just get swept away and lose vital energy and really getting into arguments and all sorts of nonsense and taking things personally, you see. So don't try it at home, don't start doing all that. Just be a nice person. It's much more pleasant for you and others. This is real sort of advanced Toltec stuff. It sounds kind of silly to say that, but it really is. All right. I feel complete with this topic. I'll take one question. Fire me one question, an intelligent one. Don't prove your foolishness, otherwise I'll jump on you and troll you instead. So fire me an intelligent question. Let's see who's got what. Jake saying, do you require payment? Okay, that's off topic, but I'll just deal with it anyway. So Jake saying, do you require payment? And yes, there is payment for apprenticeship. It's not for free. Absolutely not. Those days are long gone, my friend. Free ain't free no more. Okay, what else? K-Dot mentioned the singularity last week, and you kindly asked us to remind you to, oh yes, Oriel, yes, thank you. Thank you. Flora got it, it's energy exchange, yes. Yes, exactly right. Money is a very beautiful way to put value on something. Think about it like that. It's a beautiful way to put exact value on something. Otherwise, we'd both be wondering how much, what, how, what, where. Then money comes along and says, okay, how much value would you like to put on this? There you go. It'll make your relationship with money a lot easier. Anyway, any on-topic questions? Yeah, Oreo, insight into it, the singularity. There's a guy called Ray Kurzweil, I think, Kurzweil. Kurzweil. Geezer works for Google. And he's spearheading, just like Mr. Klaus Schwab is spearheading the Great Reset. Our man here. Yeah, Jake, you know what? You don't want me trolling you, so it's time for you to zip your lip, all right? Where was I? Yeah, Mr. Ray Kurzweil. He's spearheading the predator's agenda to reduce an infinite creature, which is you and I, which can exist in multiple... No, you're not trolling. I would be trolling you if you don't zip it. So, an infinite creature like us, which can exist in multiple dimensions at once. You may have heard New Age talk of 5D and 4D and Alex, yeah, I'm with you, man. Here we go again. Yeah. It's like, I'm actually talking about this topic. Do people not even listen? It's incredible. Well, there you go. And Mr. Ray Kurzweil's big idea, which is the predator's idea, which makes perfect sense from the predator's point of view, is to cap the human being's capacity to be multidimensional. And what that means is a good video in itself. For now, just take that word, into 2 dimensions. Cap it at 2 dimensions. It's really scarily similar to the Borg assimilation. Except that who knew that Borg assimilation actually takes place on a population over a period of 50, 60 years instead of, like in the movies, it's almost immediate. But that's very, very accurately what's going on. Humanity is being assimilated into a digital 2D reality. And go into Ray Kurzweil's thing, and he is heading something called the singularity. Our man, Mr. Elon Musk, is going to be introducing Neuralink very soon. And Neuralink is going to lead straight into the singularity. The singularity is a collective upload of human consciousness. It has already been successfully tried in experiments, and they will roll it out. The Predator is going to roll it out. My estimation is the Agenda 2030, I think it's called 2030, Agenda 2030. So within 7-8 years. I will also go so far as to say that a great war is coming, a manufactured war. The war to end all wars, that's what it's going to be touted as. And that war will usher in the Great Reset. That will necessitate Neuralink, which will then necessitate uploading into what they call the singularity. Now, all of this, your call. Treat it as complete bollocks. I do. It's all just bullshit, right? However, I just assume that it might be true and I work accordingly. So what happens is that because of that, I find that life always takes care of me, constantly, always. Puts me in places, situations, people, housing, the places I live in. They always being constantly shifted by life to the very best places for me in that moment regarding everything, right? And there's a way to do that. There's a way to flow with life where you have to empty yourself and get out of your own way and really work on inner silence. Really, I can't stress that enough. Inner silence is the key, and it does take a lot of time. So plan for the long term and really sink your inner silence down. Okay, let me see if there's any question on topic. John saying, don't be nice, the most common advice out there today. If taken, is this, since we've all just signed the social contract, okay? Yes, okay, Adriana's got a good one. Thank you for that. What to do with the fear and other emotions while you're being told something from other person that you are feeling it is dangerous to you and instinctively you want to react. Okay, I get you. Now here, Adriana, your homework in inner silence must save you. If your inner silence has permeated your being, if your access to your own inner silence is quick enough, is quicker than the reaction that is going to come from you. You see what I mean? So if your awareness is running quicker than your reactions, you're good. You'll catch it. If the reactions are quick and your awareness isn't fast enough yet, your reaction will come and then your awareness will catch up. And that is the time when you stop everything. Whatever you're saying, whatever is happening, stop it. And just sink into inner silence. Take a moment. Here's a little pro tip. If you feel sometimes we feel people often tell me, I'm watching myself saying all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm watching myself saying all this stuff. And it's like, what the hell, right? There's this momentum that just goes on and on. At that point, there's a really great little trick you can do. Blink consciously, purposefully. Just take a few blinks. You don't have to go wrong. You don't have to do that. But just as you're getting angry and heated and, oh no, Trump is a whatever he is, and what do you guys have? Liberals and democracies or something? I don't know. I'm not into these politicking business. Whatever the topics are, Kim Kardashian has a big ass and someone has a small ass. Whatever the hell people argue about. I really don't know. If you're going on about it, just remember to blink. it will really put your attention onto you and a physical thing, and will stop your train in its tracks. Just blink, just take a moment, just blink, bring your attention there. It's a great way to not send out become weird and suddenly stop and do some navel gazing or something, so that other people get confused. If you don't want to appear like weird, what will they think of me? Then you can just blink, and that'll reset you. From there, you come back to a choice, a place of choice. Do I want to continue, or do I want to calm down, take a few breaths, and assess whether I'm taking myself too seriously? It's that golden question. If you can ask that question, someone asked me last time, and I don't think I was able to give them a good answer. And it was a great question. So how to be humble? How do we be humble, Anaam? It was something to that effect. I think it was Patrick, user called Patrick, I believe. This is the shortcut. Just ask yourself this question. Am I taking myself too seriously right now? And a variation to that one is, am I believing my own bullshit right now? Am I believing my own bullshit? No, I am against vaccines. No, we should all have vaccines. It's not even a damn vaccine. It's a gene modifying agent. No, we should whatever, not do this, and then we should do this. Okay, that's all good. It's all good. But are you believing the bullshit that's coming out of your mouth? If you are, then you're in a bad place, no matter what you're on about. If you aren't, you're in a good place. You can choose. You can stalk. You can choose. You see where I'm coming from? You can ask, okay, am I taking myself too seriously here? That'll put a pause on your bullshit. Because really, it's all just nonsense. It's all indulging. Inner silence is really the default safe setting. It's the factory setting, and you want to just constantly reset yourself to that anyway. Adriana, does that answer your question? Let me know in the comments. And on that note, have a great week ahead. I shall see you next week, 8 p.m. Adriana is saying, thank you. And what if I do not react outside, but I still feel fear and don't know how to stop this feeling and I can't stand it? Okay, good one. Good one. I want to get away from it, but it is hard. Will that be better with it cut out? Good one. There's nothing wrong with the fear feeling. It's your body. Trust it. Your body is telling you something. It's telling you that you're in an environment that is not of a comfortable standard for you, where you're at within yourself, right? Fear is not your enemy. Fear is not uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, but it's not your enemy. It's your body's language. It's part of your body's vocabulary. You have got to learn to honor it, listen to it, feel that fear. Feel that fear manifests as this strange feeling in the heart, in the stomach, right? Feel it. Put your hand there. Feel it. Take a breath. You can even say, "Excuse me, hold on. I need to take a few minutes. I'm feeling a little bit fearful right now." Say it. Express yourself. Be yourself. Say, "I apologize for cutting off this conversation, but I'm feeling fearful right now. Please give me a moment." Nothing wrong with that. But you have to step out of what will they think of me? I have to be polite and sit and listen to their bullshit. No, you don't. There's no rules except what you make. That's exactly what the life is about, if you think about it. Right? So feel the fear and sink into inner silence. Ask these questions. Am I taking myself too seriously? The fear is there, let it be there. If you fight it, then you're making an enemy out of your body language. That is just, man, that's insane, right? Why make an enemy out of the language of your body? Why? Why? Just wait, it's going to waste energy, right? Because your body's not going to say, right, okay, fine, I'll give up being fearful then, hey, because you don't like it. No, that's just not how it works. The body will manufacture more fear. So learn to accept yourself, love yourself. There are many ways to do it. You know that I recommend You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. Read it 3 times cover to cover. And then there are tasks that my apprentices do with that every single one of them says it's life-changing. But that's the apprenticeship, right? That's part of the beginning syllabus. So work with that book. It'll teach you how to love yourself. And there's a fantastic Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life companion book. It's like a workbook. You want to get that one too and start working on that. It will change you if you let it. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. I shall see you next week. Thank you for coming, giving of your time and attention and all your input in the comments. I'll read all of them later. If there's anything else, just put it in the comment section in the video. Walk in freedom. Shall see you next week. Bye for now.